Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. In this video, I'm going to do a follow-up on Bitcoin from my last Bitcoin video that I made. So in my last video, I said this. Today, that is when this video is being recorded, that is December 17th, 2024, is the peak of the 2024 Bitcoin bull run. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I'll show you why I believe that this is the case. Now, in this video, I'm going to mention 3 words that are difficult for human beings to mention, but I think is very healthy to mention. I was wrong. So as you can see, we have over here in December 17th, 2024, a peak, but then lo and behold, there is this little wick right here that comes up and surpasses this peak that took place on December 17th. It was really just a quick little wick. It's a shooting star candle on a day candle, but it did go higher. So I was wrong. If we were to go back to the 2017 bull run structure, so here the bull run structure comes to its peak in 2017, in December 2017, and it begins its decline in January 2018. You see that I have 2 boxes here. These 2 boxes pertain to what is happening today because today's Bitcoin chart is following this structure. Let me copy and paste these fractals onto today's chart, and I'll explain the 2 boxes in a minute. So here is that 2017/2018 peak and early decline fractal. So as you can see, it has been following this. This is on a day candle. We can actually zoom in a little closer. I'm now on a 3-hour candle, and you can see a little more detail of it. As you can see, it has been following this structure. It's important to understand that this structure is a peak and decline structure. In other words, where Bitcoin is in the grand cycle, and in that previous video, I talked about the full structure. I went through the whole Bitcoin chart explaining why it is that I believe we were at the peak and not in some beginning stage of a larger bull run or in the middle of a larger bull run. All that I believe is true and accurate. So what I find very interesting about all of this, well, first off, there's an anomaly that took place on today's chart. This retrace that takes place on this structure on today's chart went higher than the actual peak. Now, that is an anomaly. As far as I know, that has never taken place before. So this is why in my video, where I proclaimed this to be the peak, I didn't foresee that this anomaly would take place. Bad on me. But on the flip side, how do you predict anomalies? To argue the other side of the coin, we know that when a fractal repeats, the timing, height, and depth is going to be unique. So it's also not totally out of the norm for this retrace to maybe move up higher or lower than what the original structure called for. But what is strange is that it actually went higher than the actual peak. So that is the anomaly. I have not been able to find another instance of that on the Bitcoin chart. So this is really the first time you have a retrace at a peak, at least, where it goes higher than the actual peak. Now, I am going to present a case that it could potentially still move up a little higher than what it did so far. It may not. It may actually start to turn down at this point. The longer this consolidation goes, the stronger the case will be that this is actually a peak and it will begin to continue to decline if it continues to follow this fractal. As of now, all evidence points to that it is following it. So unless it breaks from it, which it could, even if it broke from it, it would still be pulling off a peak/early decline structure. We should actually expect some deviation from this. Whenever a fractal repeats, the timing, height, and depth, all that plays out uniquely, so that can give leeway for originality when a pattern or a structure repeats. And we already see that taking place here. For instance, this little move up and move down played out larger on today's chart. This wave right here also went higher with this little spike up and spike back down than what the original structure called for. We could see something play out like that again on this part right here. It could spike up and then move down. And the reason why I say that is because charts tend to repeat recent themes from their past. So we see that spike up and spike down. We even see it over here. So it moves up and then it spikes up, spikes down. We have another spike here. So the theme on today's chart is this like spike stuff where it moves up and moves right back down. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I would be prepared, or I wouldn't be surprised if it took place, put it that way. Okay, so let's go back to this 2017/2018 structure. What is important to understand about this structure, and it's actually very unique. So Bitcoin came to its peak, but the altcoins had not come to their peak yet. So what I'd like to do next is I'd like to compare Total 2 to this structure. So Total 2 is all of crypto minus Bitcoin. So in 2017, while Bitcoin was moving up to its peak, we can see that Total 2 was also moving up, but it wasn't really in its peak structure, while Bitcoin was in its peak structure. It then begins to decline. Bitcoin goes into this initial decline, and it kind of has a little bounce here. All the while, Total 2 is reacting, doing something similar. It declines, but it doesn't really end. It's just a kind of a consolidation point for Total 2. It's in this orange box right here, or gold, I don't know what the color is, where it moves up to its peak in a retrace that Total 2 really comes to life. It comes to its peak at the same time that this retrace takes place, and through this decline on this retrace, it's still working out its peak structure. Once it gets to the end of this decline, that is where Total 2 begins to drop more substantially and then really go into its decline. Well, folks, on today's chart, that is what we are doing. We are working on that same retrace. This retrace pulled off an anomaly where it went higher. It was only a wick on a day candle. If history continues to follow the same basic idea, what we should expect in this retrace here is crypto to really take off. So when we look back over here, it really takes off when it's moving up into this retrace. If we examine Total 2, comparing it to Bitcoin, we see that that really hasn't been the case this time around, which leads me to think that this retrace here could potentially play out longer. I don't know. This is speculation right now, but I'm just trying to put the puzzle pieces together, comparing it back to 2018. We know that Bitcoin is following this structure. Total 2 is similar, where it's moved up and it has this consolidation going on right now. If this is the case, we could, instead of maybe being here, maybe we're over here on this structure, and it's going to spike up and eventually kind of wind its way down. During that spike up, will Total 2 also spike up? I don't know. This is speculation. We'll have to see how it actually all kind of comes together. But that is a possibility. Really, again, it's speculation. But the big picture is that Bitcoin is in a retracement structure. Even though it spiked up and got above the previous high, and it may still yet move up higher before turning down, it is still following a retracement structure. Let's clean this chart up a bit. There you have it. We'll see how things play out. As an analyst that makes videos, these type of events keep me humble, and I'm grateful for them. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful. If you found it helpful, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. Not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. If you enjoyed this video, but you're not yet a subscriber, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow up on this chart and other charts as it continues to develop. I also have a Patreon that has a Discord connected to it. I'm active on that Discord. I regularly post updates. People share their charts. We have great conversations around crypto and just charts in general. You're welcome to join. It's a $5 a month subscription. I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description of this video. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.